Hello, welcome to another pre-modern video. Today we're going to be playing in the Magic Online Society Championships. That is the event where you qualify after doing well in leagues and playoffs and stuff like that. The top 8 players from the past 3 months, I think, qualify for this event, and I won this event a couple of times already, so you can check out the VODs if you're interested in looking at that. And all of those wins were with blue-white Stifle, which is my baby, my pet deck, and it's the deck that we're going to be playing in this event as well. So as you can see, if you've been following my content, you know what this deck is about. So for ArgenNought, it's great combos with Stifle and Vision Charm. That's what we have right here. This is the package. All of these cards are not only they have great synergy with each other, but also both Stifle and Vision Charm have ways of protecting your Dreadnought. So they're not only combo pieces, but they're also protection spells. Stifle can, protect you from something like Goblin Tinkerer or something like Powder Keg, anything of that sort, Pernicious Deed. While Vision Charm protects you from all of that, and it also protects you from spot removal, at sweepers or whatever you want, at the cost, obviously, of being out of play for that turn. So that is the ways that these cards work. Not only, and this is why this deck is so good, right? Like you're playing 8 of these enablers for your Dreadnought, but they also work really well at just protecting your creature as well, which is nice. Also, there's not that many cards that answer Dreadnought in the format, even though people have really adapted. Like since I did super well and I went on some insane runs with this deck, people have really adapted, and we're seeing cards in the sideboard like, for example, Crumble, or people playing splits between the Naturalize and Disenchant. I've seen like Abolish and cards like that. So people are very much prepared for the deck now. So we're not going to get any more free wins. That's not a thing anymore. But I still think the deck is very strong. And again, like the answers are somewhat limited. So because of that, Medley Mage just works perfectly within this strategy. It really allows you to like name the specific card that you care about, be it Naturalize, be it like whatever it is. And it's also great as a disruption piece as well. If we get paired against a deck like Replenish, for example, if we just play Medley Mage and we just name Replenish, we're gonna be in a pretty good spot because we're gonna have infinite time until the point where our opponent finally answers the mage and they can do their thing. While we're doing that, like we're buying all that time, we can set up a board state where that's just unsurmountable for our opponent, and we can save our counter magic in counterspell, daze, and foil for the specific cards that will disrupt that lock or that soft lock, right? So you can save your counter spells for a Parallax Wave or whatever like the answer to mage is, and then that means that your opponent can't really kill you, and then you just beat them down with 2/2s. It's crazy the amount of games with this deck that just end up with just 2/2 beatdowns. that's how you end. So as I said, there's like a counterspell and daze as protective spells. We also have foil, which is fantastic in this deck because we get to play Gush in pre-modern, and Gush is a really good card in this deck specifically, because we are playing a bunch of islands, which is one of the things why this card is legal, is because you can only bounce actually basic islands. There's no duels allowed, so that makes Gush a lot more fair, as you might imagine. We also have a singleton Flash of Insight. I've been pretty happy with this card as a one-off. I don't think you ever want multiple copies of this, but just spending 3 mana to draw a card, like sure, whatever. The ideal scenario obviously is that you pitch it to foil, right? But like the worst case scenario is you spend 3 mana and you just like draw a card, which is pretty bad to be honest. But the back end, the flashback, is absolutely fantastic. I have been really impressed with Flash of Insight in the mid to late game, and it's extremely easy for this to be like 2 mana, look at the top 8 cards, or like 12 cards or something ridiculous, which at that close you're just really close to Demonic Tutor, right? Like instant speed Demonic Tutor is pretty strong. Sure, it makes you work for it, but this deck is built to enable it very easily. As you can see, the 99% of our spells are actually blue, so they enable our Flash of Insight. We also have some cantrips: Sleight of Hand, Portent, and Opt. These are 1 mana cantrips, and you're gonna see no impulses here or anything like that, because this deck really wants to play 1 mana cantrips specifically, because they fit in your curve better. They allow you to just develop your game plan much more smoothly, and this deck, as compared to the mono blue versions of this deck, has a slightly higher curve. So that's why we have 1 more land, and we are cutting stuff like Impulse, which is kind of clunky. Also, we get to play arguably the best card in the format in Swords to Plowshares. So the fact that the mono blue version, your opponent plays Melee Mage, naming Dreadnought, you'll just concede the game on the spot because there's nothing you can do about it. You have probably like one boomerang or something like that, so you only can answer Melee Mage on the stack specifically. This deck has Sword Supplanter, so it allows you to just like, let that Melee Mage sit in there, like not care about it. Eventually you'll find your swords after you have set up a good hand for it, and then you just Sword Supplanter that Melee Mage, you put your Dreadnought combo into play and you go from there. So it's very, very strong there. When we move over to the sideboard, we have a very clean 5 white cards, 5 blue cards, 5 artifacts sideboard. So we have Seal of Cleansing and Disenchant. Again, like it's always good to have like a split in this kind of answers because of cards like Cabal Therapy and Melee Mage specifically. But it just also happens that both of these are kind of good in different scenarios and also kind of in different matchups as well. So Seal of Cleansing and Disenchant are both fantastic cards in the format, and we get to play them, which is very good. We also have Last Breath. We finished the Places of War Supplanter, obviously, and then we have Last Breath, which this card is heinous, as you can see. Like 2 mana, exile a creature with power 2 or less, it's controlled against 4 life. That's terrible. That's not a good card. But it's literally the second best answer to Melee Mage in the entire format in these 2 colors. The other option would be something like Seal of Removal or, Unsummon or something like that, which is really clunky and also only answers the problem momentarily. So I'm really interested in like answering specifically Melee Mage, and I'm very interested also in answering it in a permanent way. So that's why we see Last Breath in the sideboard. We have Deep Analysis, this one specifically for the quote-unquote grindy matchups, stuff like control decks, stuff like The Rock and whatnot. I considered also Factor Fiction in this slot, but when thinking about like the potential play patterns, like if your opponent has a counter spell, they can counterspell your Deep Analysis and you don't care. Whereas, sure, you can end step the Factor Fiction on your opponent's end step, but if they counter it, like that's kind of it, right? Like that was it. Like that was your counter advantage card. So now you are still only relying on the 4 Gushes, which again, Gush is a fantastic card, so no harm there. But like this is for the matchups where you want a little bit more oomph. And again, like, and you don't care about the fact that this is a 4 mana sorcery spell, right? Like, so when you're playing against something like The Rock or Standstill or whatever, even something like Parfait, against those decks, you don't really care about the fact that this is a 4 mana sorcery. And obviously, you get to pitch this to foil, you're gonna be feeling like $1 million. But even when you're just hard casting it, this is specifically for matchups where you don't mind doing that. Then 2 Hydroblast, 1 Blue Elemental Blast. Again, you want to be doing the split for the reasons that I stated above, but you definitely want some kind of this effect in this format. Like Sly, Goblins are fantastic decks, and also for decks that have a Power Blast or Blue Elemental Blast in the sideboard as well. So like that can also be relevant. A singleton copy of Annul. This is a card that I was considering just straight up playing in my main deck. But I ended up being relegated to the sideboard in lieu of playing some more cantrips. But this is a card that I'm actively trying to make room for in the main deck. That is how this format works. Like Annul is just a really good main deck card in blue decks that can play it. And it's just a good card, so have 1 copy in the sideboard. The reason why I'm playing Disenchant, like 2 Disenchants, 1 Annul, as opposed to the opposite, the only reason is that Disenchant, I think it's pretty good versus survival decks, because you get to draw it in the mid to late game and it's still fine. And usually against survival decks, you don't care about bringing too many answers to that card specifically. Like you will have like the 1 Disenchant to draw towards or something like that, but you're not actively trying to answer that, right? So because of that, like you don't want to have your hands stuck with Annuls, and if your opponent all resolves a singleton survival, they're gonna get to do whatever they want, right? And then you have no ways to actually answer an onboard survival. So in that kind of matchup, Disenchant and Seal of Cleansing are much better. But I know it's still a fantastic card. If I get paired against something like Parfait or like whatnot, this card's gonna be great. Winter Orb is an interesting card in this deck. I really like it because there are certain matchups where I build my entire game plan around this card. Like for example, when I get paired against a deck like Standstill, I ignore the Dreadnought side of my deck. In fact, I will just actually side out multiple copies of Dreadnought. I think I leave in like 2 Dreadnoughts and I just go for Meddling Mage beatdowns plus Winter Orb. Like that's my combo. I still leave the out to having the Dreadnought and just being able to have like that powerful late game. But I build my entire game plan around just resolving and protecting a Winter Orb. Of note, Vision Charm can also protect your other artifacts. Like it says target creature target artifacts faces out. It doesn't say target artifact creature faces out, so you actually can use it to protect your Winter Orbs, your Cursed Totems, and your Furnace in Cyber the games. So that's pretty great. But yeah, Winter Orb has been fantastic to me, and it's there for matchups like control decks specifically, and things like the Rock. Cursed Totem is the one card combo versus decks like Elves and even decks like Blue Green Madness, and I'm gonna be playing against Blue Green Madness in the very first round against the one and the only Cyberpunker, who has been developing the Blue Green Madness deck for years at this point. He's very, very good player, and I'm paired against him in round number 1. We always play some fantastic matches, so looking forward to that. And then finally, one Singleton Phyrexian Furnace. I was considering having one Singleton Tormod Script instead, and usually in most of my decks lately, I've been playing one Tormod Script, one Phyrexian Furnace. That has been like a nice split that I've enjoyed a lot. But yeah, I think I'm going for the one of Furnace. The fact that it allows me to disrupt stuff like Squee against survival decks, and even more importantly Anger against decks like Elves, is like a really, really big deal, and it makes me want to have it as a singleton copy. I do not want to have more than one, and I think that a card like Tormod Script you just don't want to have against a deck like Elves, so Phyrexian Furnace seems like the better card. But obviously if I'm playing against Replenish, I'm going to be bringing this in, but I'm going to wish that it was a Tormod Script instead, you know? But that's how it goes sometimes. But that's going to be the deck we're going to be playing in this event. It's going to be, I think, 3 rounds total. As long as we keep winning, we're going to continue playing. And I'm looking forward to getting the third, let's see if I can get the 3rd trophy. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button on the way out. And yeah, let's play some Magic here. Alright, here we go. On the play versus Cyberpunker. I think this hand is fine. We got our mana's perfect. We have some cantrips. We got some good cantrips. We have Gush. This seems good. Turn 1 Basic Forest. A classic. Opt. Mage. Put that one on top. I think we're just gonna name Survival of the Fittest here. I think that's the play. Foil? They kind of have to foil this. Survival of the Fittest. Pass the turn. And here I'm only naming Survival or Wild Mongrel because my opponent led on turn 1 Basic Forest, so clearly their mana's bad, because otherwise they would have led on Basic Island to represent Daze. So now we have to draw a Plow, or we have to draw the combo. Either one will do. So let's slide a hand here, see what's up. Let's get Dreadnought. There's definitely an argument for getting Daze there, by the way. Definitely an argument for getting Daze. But I think that I'd rather just Dreadnought. Okay, very happy I did not get Daze. No blocks. But yeah, the argument for getting Daze would be Arrogant Worm, right? To stop my opponent's beats. Discarding Squee. That's it. Okay, I like that. I like that. Obviously I'm not gonna attack, but... Oh, that's nice. Okay, so let's lead on Gush. Let's Gush first. See what's up. Nice. Okay, so I guess we can double Meddling Mage here. So we're gonna lead on Mage. I'm gonna name Arrogant Worm. Yeah, exactly. So now I guess we're gonna name Rootwalla and Worm. Alternatively, we could... I mean, I'm still gonna name Arrogant Worm here, because I don't want to be facing multiple of them. Actually, do I name Rootwalla? Because they can't Daze. And then I just name Worm with the other Meddling Mage? Because I don't want to get raised. Let's name Baskin Rootwalla with this one. And then Arrogant Worm with the second mage. Because I think I'm dropping 2 mages here. Yeah, I think so. So it's going to play a second mage. This one's going to name Arrogant Worm. And now we send it back. Opponent could potentially have another Mongrel, which could be a problem. We're really looking for, really looking for an enabler for this Dreadnought here. No blocks, we're gonna probably take 7. I guess we die to Wonder. We do die to Wonder here. Really want to find Stifle off the top. That was an argument for like just playing a land and cantrip in last turn. Yeah, maybe I should have just named Arrogant Worm and just pass it back. Because now this is kind of awkward, right? Like I have to spend my turn cantripping with Portent. And then I have to like just pass the turn back. Yeah, those don't do it. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna die here. I think I'm just gonna die. We can attack with the one naming Survival. but the other one of them needs to chump the mongrel. Probably the one naming Rootwalla is gonna chump the mongrel. So what we can do here is we can just discard Flash of Insight. We really have to find green. Oh, Frantic Search. Frantic Search is fine. Doesn't really matter. Like, I mean, I guess they don't even have an island for Wonder now that I think about it. Okay, so they do have the Wonder. It's just a matter of do they have the island. And then I guess I can draw Swords to Plowshares here. That is not a Swords to Plowshares. There's the island. I guess I should have done that there, right? I should have opted an upkeep to play around Daze. Although if he has Daze, he just hard cast it, right? So, okay. So he discards to Mongrel. Let's opt and look for Swords to Plowshares. And we don't find it. All right. Game number 2. We have Swords to Plowshares 3 and 4. This is great. Cursed Totem and Phyrexian Furnace. These are the cards that I want. Potentially, I want like a Disenchant or an Annul. And I can cut a couple of counters, a couple of Dazes. I guess I'm on the play, so I like Daze better than Counterspell. We can cut the Sleight of Hand. Also, just realize in deck construction, these cards are white bordered, and then in actual gameplay, they're black bordered. That's kind of hilarious. So I guess those cards, and then I guess I do like Meddling Mage on the play. Yeah, let's just go like this. Game number 2. Yeah, this looks great. So we can go turn 1 Portent, looking for a land. Then we Meddling Mage for survival, and then we can also drop. We can drop a Cursed Totem on 2. So Portent looking for an island. Ugh. Is the Darker Wastes good enough? I guess it is. So let's go top. No shuffle. We're gonna draw. Then next turn we're gonna get to Meddling Mage. I guess you could have Wasteland. Wasteland would have been bad. I think I'm playing Meddling Mage here, and then I can opt on my upkeep to bottom the Gush. So I don't think I want the Gush. But I definitely want a Meddling Mage here because if he dazes, like, he just falls behind. So that's fine. It's basically time walks himself. So that's fine. And now I have Cursed Totem. So I'm gonna upkeep on upkeep opt so I can bottom the Gush, which we're really far away from. Actually, do I want the Gush? How long of a game am I playing? I think I'm not gonna be playing that long a game. So let's bottom the Gush. Another opt is the draw. All right, so that's something. I think I'm gonna Portent looking for a land here. From the Portent we see Strand, Island, Stifle. This seems quite good. This seems quite good. I don't have protection though, so I think I'm gonna go. Okay, I'm gonna go top, and then I'm gonna shuffle. Yeah, so top, no shuffle. I'm gonna shuffle with the Flooded Strand so I can get rid of that island. We're gonna get there eventually. So draw Flooded Strand, then we're gonna draw Stifle next turn. We're gonna be given the option of that's a survival. So play this, get an island. I can go for it now. What happens if I go for it now? If he has second Daze, I'm gonna be in a lot of trouble because he can steal my Dreadnought with a Drake. He can steal Dreadnought with a Drake, which is bad for me. Yeah, I think I need at least one layer of protection here. Let's opt, bottom the land. Another Source of Plowshares is not bad. And let's go with Cursed Totem. He can Daze here. I think another Daze is fine on the Totem. I just really don't want the Daze on the Dreadnought. I don't care about Waterfront Bouncer. Don't care about Mongrel. Frantic Search. Definitely don't care about Arrogant Worm. He doesn't have that many green sources, so this survival's not super great just yet. I am afraid of a Naturalize on this Dreadnought. Double Rootwalla. So those are just 1/1s. So it's not that big of a deal. For now, at least. Green to survival. Survival for Bouncer. Okay, so this is a 1/1. This doesn't matter. That's good though. I like that. So let's go Dreadnought. And I'm just gonna Stifle. And I'm gonna leave in Vision Charm to protect the Dreadnought potentially. So he gets back Squeep. Now he can Drake. But then I think we just Stifle the Drake trigger. We just swing. Because we're winning the race. and then we leave Vision Charm to protect from something like Naturalize. Double Waste's hurting a little bit here. Really wishing we had something better. Naturalize Totem. Just gonna plow the bouncer in response. That gets rid of the bouncer problem. Again, he can have counterspell, he can have daze here, so there's multiple ways that this goes poorly for me, but I think this is fine. Drake, if he naturally has a Drake, this was his land drop, so he cannot survive for Drake, he just has to naturally have it. But this seems fine. So now we have Dreadnought, and we can double Dreadnought. Yeah, I like this a lot, so swing for 12. That was a really good draw. Here's a Dreadnought, and I'm going to stifle this trigger. Send it back. So now he gets to survival for Drake, and then I just Vision Charm my Dreadnought in response. The classic basic mountain. Detect. There goes Squeep. Here comes Drake. And wait for targets. Target artifact phases out. Show me the counterspell. Show me the counterspell, because if you don't have it, you lose. Perfect. All right, got there. And now game number 3. Now I like daze a little bit less. And I think now I want something like Disenchant / Seal of Cleansing. I guess I want to know. Just over the dazes. Do I want Disenchant or do I want Seal? I think I want Disenchant because he can play around Seal by like just naturalizing. So this seems fine. So now all my counter magic is Annul and then Foil. And everything is just focused on answering the board, which I like. Game number 3 for all the marbles. This hand is very good. Like this hand a lot. Really like this hand. So we can go turn 1 Portent. Turn 2 Survival would be a problem, but I think this hand is quite strong. Turn 1 Yavimaya Coast. So Portent myself. Actually, there's an argument for going a darker ways, because if I find foil, ooh, interesting. I'm on the draw though. I'm not sure I have time for this. How long is this game gonna go? It's actually probably gonna go quite long. Yeah, I think I keep this. So let's go top, no shuffle. Yeah, I think we're gonna go long enough for these to matter. And the fact that I have both Melding Mage and Swords to Plowshares, meaning like a Mongrel this turn is not really that big of a deal. So he kept a 1-lander. Love to see it. Double Rootwalla is scary though. Let's see if all his mana problems are solved now. Nope. Still mana issues. Okay. So the Darker Ways and a 2/2 reigns supreme amongst all of these 1/1s. Gonna name Survival of the Fittest. So now next turn we get to opt. We hold up Swords to Plowshares, which is nice. You gotta play more lands, Stanley. You gotta play more lands, man. There we go. He found it. Okay. We're gonna be taking 2. I love how we can like stifle the Root Wall activation. That's just absolutely hilarious. It's kind of a time walk. Squee and Survival have been discarded. Okay. So now we know about Squee. That's the gush that we knew about. I think I want a main phase opt just to gain some more info. You've definitely bottomed that. Another Stifle. Okay. Just gonna hold back, and now he can't really attack because there's just too many cards that blow him out now. So I don't think he can attack. So block there. So this Stifle is basically a time walk because I ate up his entire turn while he's constrained on mana. So this seems worth the exchange here. I could have used the Plow instead, but I think using that is better. That's good. So now I can just name Naturalize here. Now I can just name Naturalize. Blue, white, have blue floating. We have 6 cards in hand, up to, down to 5, up 2. Yeah, that's fine. So now we gush, play a land, and we're going to Meddling Mage, naming, do we just name Naturalize here? I think we name Naturalize. And now pass it back, and we swing. We do get to use, I think I'm going to take the hit this turn. I'm going to take the hit of the Rootwalla this turn, because I really want to save this Swords to Plowshares for specifically Waterfront Bouncer. Okay. So he probably has, if I had to guess, he has Arrogant Worm in hand. That's kind of awkward. I mean, I guess I can just gush. I know he has Squee, but that's it. So I think I foil a Frantic Search because that's basically a draw 2. So if I play my island, I gush. I foil. What's his name? That is really interesting. So this can go a variety of different ways. The problem is if I pitch this island to foil, I cannot gush anymore. I'm gonna be left with just a single Darker Wastes in play, which I'm not super stoked about. But I think I have to foil the Frantic Search. I think I'm just hard pressed to do that. Again, I really want to save this Source of Pleasure specifically for Waterford Bouncer or Wild Mongrel. Those are the only real cards that I care about right now. Man, this is super close. Because I can also just like play a Plains and send it back. If I do that, I get to hold up foil. But then this gush is going to be stranded in my hand. I think I just have to play the island. I think I have to play the island. And then we're going to have to, I guess, do we just main phase foil? In case we draw specifically Dreadnought? I think I main phase. Because he 100% has the Frantic Search. The problem is if I whiff, I'm in a lot of trouble. I think I just eat it up, and I pass the turn, I eat it up, and I just Source of Pleasures the Arrogant Worm. Oh, he has nothing. Oh wow, well, that's great for me. That is insanely good for me. Well, that makes things a lot easier for me. Okay, now what? Now we untap another foil. That's quite good. Well, I guess now I can just like play this Plains and just send it back, and I can just hardcast one of these foils. Like, I don't have to do anything just yet. He's not doing anything, and I'm ahead on board. We are ahead in the race, and I have removal, and he probably has like dead cards in hand, because like I know he has a Squee, which is a dead card. Yeah, I'll take one. One's fine. 3 is also fine. Like I'm winning this race, so don't really care. Green mana, okay. If he plays a Mongrel, oh, Root Wallet, that's hilarious. I guess I can also draw just Curse Totem. I don't think I foil this. This is just not good enough to foil. So untap, another Vision Charm. Okay, so just gonna gush here. Looking for Curse Totem, looking for that guy. Yeah, that's a good draw. That is most definitely a good draw. So yeah, we have a lot of protection here. This is fine. So let's play Dreadnought. He may counter this. Now I Stifle. That's good. Alright, cool. I don't Portent, I just pass it back, and I guess I discard these Darker Wastes. So we got 2 layers of protection here, plus Source to Plowshares for Bouncer, so I don't even have to counter the Bouncer, which is nice. I have a decently sized blocker. I think it's fair to call it that. And Crumble. Do I just Vision Charm that? I think so. Save the foil for something better. Mana Leak. Okay. So that resolves. I'm not gonna pay. And now I'm gonna Vision Charm again. Days. Okay. Pay for days. How many days do you have? Foil. So now we get to let that resolve and we just foil the Crumble, which is even better for us. So foil that, discard that, discard that. He can have another, I mean, he doesn't have another days, we know that, but he may have like Counterspell. He can't foil again. He can't have Naturalize. So 12, yeah. So the only problem now is specifically Gilded Drake. It's the only card that matters. I think at this point Gilded Drake is the only card that matters in his entire deck. He could have another Crumble. That would also matter, obviously. But it needs to be the natural Gilded Drake. Huh. Okay. No blocks, thank you. It's gonna pump. I'm okay with this. Is this a concession pump? Is that what's going on here? Or like what? Because now these mages are lethal. Yes! Woo! On to the semis. Alright, so round number 2, we're on the draw. And I think I like this hand. We have some counter magic if we need to go a little bit longer when we have like turn 2 Dreadnought with Days backup, which is not half bad. Let's play the island. I want to save the Flooded Strand. I may not need to, but if I save the Strand, if I draw a Portent, that's going to be much better for me. Now we can opt into this if we need to. I'm not going to stifle this. I think that just being able to drop a Dreadnought is more valuable. Multanis Acolyte is interesting. Probably not gonna daze that. Oh, Gush is great. This allows me to actually go long. But yeah, I'm gonna let the Acolyte resolve. So we're playing against Elves. Definitely letting the Acolyte resolve, because now I can just go turn 2 Dreadnought with Daze backup. And if my opponent actually goes ahead and pays for Echo, then that's their entire turn, right? So the only bad scenario here is my opponent goes like land Naturalize. So the Acolyte's dead, unsurprisingly. Interesting gift from my opponent. They kept 7, and their first play was turn 2 Acolyte. Alright, so they play Foothills into Fetch. Do they have the main deck now? Oh, okay, Survival's fine, I think. I'm gonna be able to raise a Survival. So yeah, I'm not particularly worried. I think I'm just gonna end the game before the Survival actually matters. Fetch land or Plains? I don't think it matters too much. So we're gonna serve for 12, and I guess we may find a cantrip. Like, I don't think there's anything I'm interested in plowing, so this is fine. Discarding Squee, that's whatever. And they just don't have enough mana to do anything, I don't think. So I think we just kind of cheese them out with the classic strat of having the combo on turn 2. Just the classic strat. Place with full hills. They can now fetch for mountain. We know they have anger in hand, but I don't think there's really anything my opponent can do here. They can go find Uktabi if they have that. Priest of Titania. Yep, this is fine. I just daze whatever they play with this. Imagine they're just gonna go find Quirion Ranger here, and now we just daze the Ranger. Oh, I don't know why I tapped 2 mana there. That wasn't necessary. I mean, not that it matters. I should have just tapped 1 island. Okay, so we're playing against Elves. I like Swords to Plowshares. Obviously, I like Curse Totem. And I think Phyrexian Furnace is fine. I think Last Breath is medium. Probably not worth it. I don't think this game is going to go super long. So I think I'm going to cut the Daces on the draw. And I think I'm going to cut the Flash of Insight. There's an argument for Disenchant / Seal of Cleansing and for a Null. These are the 3 cards that I'm considering here. I don't think I want any of them over the other cards that I have here. Meddling Mage is very important to name Naturalize, because the combo here, the lock, is Meddling Mage on Naturalize plus Curse Totem. That's effectively game over. Unless they start voting some number of crumbles. That would be the only card that matters at that point. But that's the 1-2 punch. I definitely want the Gushes, definitely want the foils. Particularly, Gushes are more important for foil now that I don't have Daces, because I'm on the draw. I think I'm just going to cut a cantrip or a land. Those are the 2 things that I could see myself cutting here. Either a cantrip or land. I think I'm going to cut a land since I'm on the draw, and maybe on the play I just switch that around. No lander. Of course. I cut a land and immediately find a no lander. I mean, this is just justice, right? This is justice. Can't even get mad. Obviously gonna ship the no lander into another no lander. Okay, it's not great. It's not great. The good thing is that I don't need that many cards. So if I can find a reasonable 5, I can most certainly win on a reasonable 5. And this is a decent enough 5, actually. So let's keep this. Gonna bottom an island, and I think I'm gonna bottom Vision Charm. I think so, because I'm really gonna be interested in finding a white source. Turn 1, finding a source to Plowshare. Sorry, that's a counter spell. So play an island, pass the turn back. We'll see what my opponent has going on here on turn 2. Like turn 1 Elf, obviously much better start than the one my opponent had in the previous game. Fetch land. I love how much respect there is for the Stifle here. Yeah. I think Survival just resolves there. So what that means is I probably have to Meddling Mage naming Symbiote. Alternative being Masticore. That would be the other thing that I could see myself naming. Gush is interesting. I don't think I want it right now. Not with a single island in play. But yeah. Here's White Source. Play Meddling Mage. And I think I'm going to name Wirewood Symbiote or Priest of Titania. Those are the 2 things to name here. I think I'm just going to name Symbiote. Wirewood Symbiote. But yeah, if my opponent has Priest, that's gonna be pretty good for them. Yeah, being able to sneak in the turn 2 survival against the Multi 5, that's rough. I don't think these meddling mages are gonna be enough to just carry me home. Unless my opponent's hand is like stuck with a bunch of random, just a bunch of random nonsense, like, you know, like a bunch of naturalizes and whatnot. But I imagine they're just gonna survival here. Survival, pitching, Hermit. Okay, so that's good. We don't have to worry about Hermit anymore. They do get Squee, which is obviously good. So, Korean Rangers, fine. That's gonna be a pretty significant amount of mana. So now they're gonna discard Squee, potentially getting Priest. I imagine they're gonna go get Priest of Titania here. Would be interesting to find an island. Island would allow me to... Oh, Furnace would be interesting. Action Furnace would be really interesting, actually. Allows me to get rid of the Squee engine. Leaves my opponent with an Anger, which obviously is... Oh, there you go. So now they discard Anger. They don't have the Mountain, though. They don't have the Mountain. They are going to play the Priest. There comes Priest. So next turn they're going to have a lot of mana. Swords to Plowshares would be nice. That's a good draw. That's a real good draw. That's a really good draw. Okay, so we just have to dodge Naturalize and Uktavi this specific turn. If we dodge the natural Uktavi, or we dodge... Yeah, maybe my opponent should have like untapped Fiendhorn Elves just to... I guess that puts them behind land drop, so it's the same. Never mind. But yeah, that was a sick draw. So now we just hold up Counterspell for the remainder of the game. We just don't do anything ever again. We never tap out under any condition whatsoever. And we just hope that we can just ride this Cursed Totem to victory. That is the goal. Don't naturalize me, bro. Damn it. Ah, that's so rough. Okay, now we probably lose. I think we had it until there. I still think it was correct for me to name Symbiote. Like, with the information that I had, I think it was correct for me to name Symbiote over Naturalized. If I had the Cursed Totem in hand already, I would have most definitely just named Naturalized, so I can just have that locked up. But considering the texture of our hand at that point, I think it's most certainly correct for me to have named Symbiote. Oh, they have 2 Hermits. Okay. That's cool. 2 Hermits is cool. Okay, so now we're on the play, sorry. So I won the island, probably cut this sleight of hand. I think the counter spells are okay. Probably Daze becomes a little bit better on the play. I think I still like foils, still like meddling mages. I don't think I want the disenchants / annul. So just one more card. Just gonna make room for one more card. What if I just got a Swords to Plowshares? I think that's fine, actually. I feel like just 3 Swords to Plowshares seems good enough. Like, it's not that it's that important. Well, this hand is banger. This hand is a banger. Island, go. If my opponent plays a fetch land, I am snapping this Stifle off so quick. Basic Forest into Llanowar Elf. So lucky. Yep. Here is a Cursed Totem. If my opponent naturalizes, I just don't do anything and just play the second one, and this is the one that I'm gonna protect with. I'm gonna protect for dear life. Multanis Acolyte. That is cool. Okay, take one. Another Adarkar Wastes. So I think this means I just play the second totem this turn. I think second totem is cool. So now we really want to draw either Meddling Mage or something like that. And I think I'm just gonna plow this Multanis Acolyte just because it's 2 power, which is funny. Like I don't think I've ever done this before. Just Swords to Plowshares and Multanis Acolyte. Don't think I've ever done that. So there's the first time for everything, I guess. That's a 1-mana 1/1, and this is a 2/2. 2/2s are strong. So I'm just gonna name Naturalize here. Naturalize, and we're gonna send it back with foil backup. It's nice that Uktavi doesn't really matter. I guess Uktavi is a 2/2, so it maybe does matter. Funnily enough. Just a 2/2 actually brawls with my Meddling Mage. Mountain. Okay. Okay, so they have Sharpshooter. But I think that's fine. Pyrokinesis? Pyroclasm. Really? Pyroclasm. Well, that's not a cyber card that I was playing around, I guess. I could foil this. I think I do, huh? Yeah, I think I do. I think I do. So this is bad if my opponent has... I don't know. I mean, we are not going to be able to close the game now. That's the awkward part of this. Because we don't have Stifle. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, the problem is... I mean, that's still fine. Yeah, I think that's just correct. So we just chill here. Just pass the turn back. I don't want to be trading damage, I don't think. Because I think it's much better for me to just... But I think my opponent has Naturalizes in hand, so that's why I do not want to let this Meddling Mage die. Dude, Pyroclasm, really? Why don't they just play Lightning Bolt? Second Priest. That doesn't really do anything. I think my opponent has at least... I think that they have at least one Naturalize in hand. At least, maybe two. We have to dodge Survival or Hermit for a little bit. And kind of the only card that matters. I guess Octavio Orangutan would matter. The Range Hermit would matter. My opponent does have some cards that matter here, actually. Stifle is sick. Okay. Yeah, I think we go for it. My opponent could have Octavi. If they do have Octavi, this is bad. But it needs to be specifically Octavi. So I think I just don't want my opponent to have more time to find the Octavi. So I think it's good for me to go for it there. Also, Survival is bad for me. But yeah, Pyroclasm seems weird out of the Elf deck. I wonder if Bolt would just be better. Because the problem with Clasm is that it works under very specific conditions, right? It only works in a situation like the one that we have right there, unless you're playing around it from turn number 1. 4 mana. This is a Hardcast Anger or something? 5 mana. Hermit. Well, there you go. That's a big boy. That is a big boy. So I guess my best draw is Swords to Plowshares. If I draw Swords to Plowshares and my opponent just has a big block happen, we're gonna be in really good shape. Second Cradle, just jamming right now? Wow. Kamau. Okay. That's an interesting play. That is a very interesting play. So opponent doesn't have attacks here. They're gonna start having attacks next turn. How are they gonna swing? So they block. We block here. They can't really send the 1/1s. They're just free for me to eat, but maybe they have like 2. Yeah, I really have to find Swords to Plowshares. I think if I find Swords to Plowshares, I'm gonna be in good shape. Man, the Elves deck is so strong. I'm always very impressed when I see it in action. But yeah, I mean, if this Dreadnought had shown up 1 turn earlier, if I had found the Stifle 1 turn earlier, we would be in such great shape. But unfortunately, I was forced to foil that Pyroclasm. Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I just shouldn't have forced the Pyroclasm and just like hope to draw a Dreadnought quickly. But yeah, my guess of my opponent having Naturalize in hand very much did not pay off. Alright, block there, block there. Take 2 down to 13. Opponent just push through 2 damage. I think I opt main phase in case I find another Meddling Mage. So we bottom the land, still draw land. Okay, I'm gonna hold on to this, I guess, in case I draw specifically basic. Well, I guess if that's the case, I'd rather just have the land in play. So we bottomed, Flooded Strand, still drew Flooded Strand, that's bad. So now my opponent attacks next turn. They attack with everything. I block, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess I can take 9 and get 1/1/1 out of the deal, out of the way. I really need to find Swords to Plowshares this turn, I think. I don't think I'm supposed to shuffle, because I can find Portent next turn, so... But I guess if I play the land, that makes... Yeah, I think I'm supposed to play the land because that makes Gush a better top deck. But I'm not supposed to shuffle. So I think we just stay here. We can't really attack. Actually, was I supposed to attack? If I attack, my opponent just block. They just don't block. They go down to 10. Maybe I was supposed to attack with Dreadnought there, actually. Yeah, maybe. Wow, I didn't actually consider that, but I think I was maybe supposed to attack with Dreadnought. So I take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I guess I take lethal, so I was not supposed to with Dreadnought. There you go. 1 card in hand for opponent. I have to assume that it's a blank, because I cannot beat anything, really. Oh, they send everything. Okay, so I take 8, 9, 10. I think these are the blocks. Go down to 3. Another 1/1. And now I guess I'm dead? Unless I draw Swords of Blushers to plow my own Dreadnought? Counterspell, right on time. Yeah, I'm just dead. I was just supposed to attack last turn, I guess. And then I just chomped the Kamal. I think that was the line. Just the naturally drawn Hermit got me good. That was a crazy game. Pyroclasm baiting out the foil. Forcing the foil out of my hand. And then just the random natural beatdown. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. I do wonder if I was just supposed to just let that go. But again, like my opponent with 4 cards in hand at the time, I was assuming there was at least one naturalized in their hand. But yeah, I'm dead. I'm just dead. All right, good games. Well played, Bokayas. Well played. All right, so we lost to the Elf Menace. No third championship for us, but I'm still pretty high on this deck. I think it's still quite strong. And I feel like the hate has slowed down pretty significantly. I feel like right now we're again at a point where this deck was so good at one point that people started to overly prepare for it. And that's where I just could not find a win to save my life for a minute there. And now that people have kind of slowed down on the hate for Dreadnought, and they have like started to focus a little bit more of their sideboard cards and their deck building towards other decks, like for example Goblins and things like that, now this deck gets a little more extra room to breathe, and I think it can become pretty good once again. So yeah, I think this deck is fine choice again for now. We'll see how long that remains the case. But I could see myself just continuing to play this one for a little bit. But I'm also experimenting with some other things, like with LobsterCon, basically like a month away from now. I am very interested in trying a couple of other strategies as well, so we're going to see how that works out. But this one is definitely my number one so far, right? Like this is obviously the deck that I'm considering the most. I have it literally built right next to me over here. So big fan of this one. I like this deck list a fair bit. I think this deck list is quite strong. The only card that it's kind of like a question mark is the Flash of Insight, but as a one-off, I've been happy enough with it. I have actually liked this card a good amount. As far as the sideboard goes, the only thing that worries me a little bit at a place like LobsterCon would be specifically more Elves and more Parfait. I have not been facing that much Parfait, but the newer Parfait lists have been just like going into a strategy that is really good against this deck, which would be just like play 4 Meddling Mages, and that is really tough for this deck to beat, and that is mainly the reason why I'm playing Last Breath, and maybe the reason why I think that this deck may not be like I'm not really afraid of Meddling Mage as a card. Like I have ways to work through it, but I'm afraid about Meddling Mage out of specifically a deck like Parfait, a deck with free counter magic, and a deck that doesn't just have any other, like it just works in a different way. Like if you're playing a Mirror and you play a Meddling Mage, then you can, it gets weird, but you can play the Meddling Mage fights, right? Versus Parfait, you just cannot really, because they're not trying to land a Dreadnought as their B plan. They're just like randomly beating you down, and all of their cards are just card advantage engines, so you need to fight over their card advantage, and you also need to like deal with their Meddling Mages. Like it's a lot to be able to keep up with, and they can protect both of those things with their own counter magic, which is free. So even I think like Landstill, I'm a little bit I have a little easier time dealing with Meddling Mages, even though Meddling Mages out of Landstill is just nightmare. An absolute nightmare. So yeah, it is interesting to say the least. I think that the deck building in Pre-Modern is kind of being all over the place right now, and I just love that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button on the way out, and I'll see you in the next video, folks. Take care and have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.